Hello, everybody. Um, I know I'm not the most consistent of posters, but I have something for us today, for you today. Uh, I am not the most consistent in my walk with Christ either, you know, but I found I'm one of those people that I'm an amateur gardener, so I like to plant things and try to grow things, and I've been trying to grow garlic for several years now, and I believe this is going to be the year um, that I'm actually successful in growing garlic. I'm pretty excited because, see, I planted garlic in spring, I planted in summer, I've planted in fall just this past year. I planted my garlic in fall. And um, I wasn't sure, but I was hopeful. I Googled it and they said that fall is the time to plant it. So finally I went ahead and I planted it in fall. And it's March now, and I went out and there's garlic popping up in all the different places where I've planted it, and I get so excited to see something that I started actually coming to fruition. But um, I save seeds, and so I don't have the package to go off of to see when I'm supposed to be planting and all that type of stuff and different zones and all that. I've never been that type of gardener. I've always been like, let's try this and see what happens type of gardener. And so some things I'm successful, other things I'm not because I don't know. And Google isn't always accurate. I don't always look at Google to find out how things, when I'm supposed to plant things and what kind of acid. I haven't never done a soil test or anything like that. But I'm saying all that to say this. Um, just because you plant a seed doesn't mean it's going to grow. Because in Ecclesiastics chapter 3, starting at verse 1, the Bible tells us there's a time and a season to everything. And if you do things out of their time and not in their season, and we can sit there and we can expect a harvest all you want, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get it. And I am a prime example of that. I've been coming up to it's March now, and I've planted some seeds several times already because I live in Colorado, and the weather is up and down. It's like seems like every weekend we get a frost. It goes down below 32 degrees, it goes down below freezing, and then in the middle of the week it's like around 60, 70 degrees, and then it goes up and down. It's just up and down. And so during the week, the weather's up, it's feeling good. I go out and I'm planting stuff in the garden, getting all excited, like, yeah, I think this will grow now. And I wait a while and nothing, nothing, nothing. And so it's like, I guess I planted it too early. The seeds probably died. And so it's about planting in the right season, in the right time. Because when we do it wrong and we expect a harvest, we don't always get a harvest. Yeah, sometimes we might luck up and plant something and it grows just because. And I save all sorts of seeds. I save seeds that won't even grow in this climate, that they say won't grow in this climate. But that doesn't stop me from trying. Yes, it may be a waste of time, but I like to experiment. I like to try different things. I like to try things. And so, especially when it comes to growing. But I'm finding out it's easier to get what you want, to get the results that you're looking for when you do research and you study and you do things in their time. Like I got some celery that I have in the window growing right now, trying to get it to root. And I found out that I don't want to plant that until the nights are at least 60 degrees outside. So if I'd have went ahead and I planted my celery outside, I could expect for it to die because it's not the season, it's not the time, it's not the season for it to grow. And I also believe, I'm not sure, If I planted that celery in a shady place, it's more than likely going to die. And so, like finding out things like this about the things that I'm planting um, in the garden, in the natural, it applies also to the spiritual. So, just because you go to a church and you give an offering, um, doesn't mean that you're going to get a harvest off that offering all the time, because it might not be the right season for that particular church, for that particular offering that you gave. But I do also, at the same time as I feel like you got to do it in the right time and season, I also feel like that if you do it with the right heart, if you're giving with the right heart, and regardless to what the people do with it that you give it to, I feel like God's going to bless you if you're doing it in the right heart. I feel like God's not going to be like, oh no, you didn't do it. You didn't do that right. So no, you can't. It's not going to benefit you. But that's not the only reason why I give. I don't just give because I expect for God to bless me with something in return. I do it because I want to do it. And when you do it, and when you give with the intention that you're doing it for the people that you're doing it to, you're giving it because you feel like it's going to help that person that you're giving it to, or those people, that church, that organization, then I feel like there's no way you can lose. Because whether you get a return on it, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, it doesn't matter to you because of the way that you gave it. When you gave it with the intent of helping that person, and that's your reward. If God decides He wants to give you more on top of that, that's up to Him. It's not up to us, you know. And so when I give with the intent of blessing an individual, a person, a group, whoever, whatever I'm giving to, and I feel like that doesn't really. I'm not trying to contradict myself, but I also feel like there's a time and a season for everything. So we have to do things in their season. We have to do things in the right time. Like you might be praying for a baby, you know, and you're trying, you and your wife, you're trying to have a baby, and she just doesn't seem to be able to get pregnant no matter what you do. And you go to the doctor and you do this and you do all these different things because you want a baby, but it might not be your time. It might not be your season for a baby. You might not be ready for that. And so God's not giving you something that you're not going to be able to keep, something that you're not going to be able to take care of, because God knows what's down the road. We don't. We don't know what's ahead. God does. And so don't lose heart. Don't lose faith because your prayers seem to be going unanswered, because God's going to bless you. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of the time and the season. When the time and the season is right, bam, there it is. Like, I know that avocados are not going to grow without a greenhouse in Colorado. I've read stuff and I've seen stuff. The climate, the cold is just going to kill them. But that doesn't stop me from saving seeds, because I was just looking at a map of the Tornado Alley, and the Tornado Alley has moved to the east according to these maps. And so it might be the same thing with the climate. Maybe Colorado will be in a climate that the zones may move, and it might end up being a warmer climate to where I can grow avocados eventually. Who knows? But I'm not planting those seeds because I know they're out of season. But I have done a pecan. I planted a pecan seed inside the house because I know it's going to take years before it actually gets big enough and is able to produce nuts. And so I decided I was going to try and grow a pecan tree. I've actually grown a avocado tree in the past. It didn't survive. I also done it with a orange tree. It also didn't survive. It's not the time and season for it. But hopefully this pecan that I've planted will grow and I'll be able to reap a harvest off of it. But only time will tell. God knows what He wants. I don't. And so, moral of what I'm saying is, just like Ecclesiastes 3, there's a time and a season for everything, and we need to do things in their proper season if we expect to receive anything from it. So we need to pray. We need to stay prayed up. We need to be consistent with our prayers. There's a time to be consistent in prayers, and that time is now. We need to pray, and we need to pray consistently. And I believe that time is never going to go away. That time is always going to be right now, today. And so we need to get prayerful. We need to stay prayerful. We need to stay in our Bible. We need to study to show ourselves approved, workmen unto God. We need to love God with our heart, our whole heart, our mind, our body, our soul. We need to follow Christ with everything about us. But we need to do the things that we know we need to do and don't let up. We need to get on it and get after it and do it and can stay after it and continue to run the race. How do you expect to win a race if you quit halfway through? There's a time to run. I feel like the time is now. We need to start running for God, and we need to continue running for God and not let up. Don't stop until the race is over. And the race ain't over as long as we're on top of the dirt. We're breathing. So let's get in there. I'm trying. I try to be consistent, but life is, I live on the earth, I'm not making excuses, but, I try, and I'm trying to get better. I want to be better. I want to do more. I want to truly follow God with all that I am, everything about me. And it's not easy, but a lot of the time, the things that are not easy are the things we need to do the most. And so, thank you for listening. Um, and hey, let's get in here and follow God to the best of our ability. It's what we need to do. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed week. God bless you.